This week on In the Field, how to go about composing a Vista landscape photo. Hi everybody, welcome back to In the Field. My name is Scott Davenport, and if this is the first time you're catching this show, this is a series where I take you with me on one of my photo shoots and talk about some of the thoughts that went through my head while I was out there. Camera settings, I'll show you the place on the maps and give you an idea of the angles that I was able to look at, and just talk about in general what I learned from that particular outing and share it with you so that we can all become better photographers together. So this week is about a Vista landscape photo. Now, when I think of a Vista photo, usually you're, high above the earth, elevated somewhere, whether it's on a, say a cliff face or at the top of a tall building or something like that, and you're looking out over the earth or the scene. And when you're at that location, it's a very immersive experience, right? You feel small. You feel the wind on your face at a high altitude, the earth and the sky, and everything is just laid out before you. And converting that into a photo to convey that experience to another viewer, it can be challenging. And that's what we're going to talk about this week. I did a shot like this when I was in Portugal a few months ago. So let me show you this location on the maps, some footage from the shoot, and then I'll talk a little more about why I think this particular shot worked for me as a Vista landscape. So here is Portugal. And Lagos is at the southern tip here. And as I zoom in, you can see here's Lagos. And there's a lot of little nooks and beaches along here. Zoom in here close enough, we can see here is Dona Ana Beach. And if I switch over to the satellite view, you're going to see that there's plenty of interesting rocks and formations. And I had walked up along these cliff faces, so let me switch to the 3D mode and spin this around a bit. So I'm walking up along these cliff faces and looking back down at the beach, kind of from this direction, and then using this curve of the land that you'll see in a moment in the footage as my foreground, my cliffs. The sun's coming up. If I were standing here on this cliff looking this way, the sun coming up roughly to my left shoulder.
It is still dark, an early morning overlooking the Dona Ana Beach in Lagos, Portugal. And I don't normally go for the Vista shot, but some scouting yesterday showed a couple of things that I think are going to work really well. You can see this small little light to the right-hand side of the frame. It's actually some construction work. Looks like they're doing some beach reclamation. And honestly, since yesterday, they've really brought in a lot of beach. The beach didn't extend out to these rocks before. But let me show you what I've been working on compositionally, just playing around with the camera. Focus that, there we go. And just been trying a few different things with the scene, trying to fine-tune the composition. And I've settled on something in this area here where these smaller rocks, from coming in from the lower right, lead into the frame, and then just letting the land, shape the rest of the scene. Nice smooth ocean. Now it's just a matter of waiting for the sun to come up and getting our shots in place. I'm set up at right now F8. That will probably change to 11 or 16 depending on how bright things get. And doing nothing other. The 400 ISO is right now so I can just control, do some relatively quick snaps and be able to see results to fine-tune the composition. As the sun's coming up directly behind me, there's a nice break in the clouds. If the sun's actually going to come up closer to where those small specks of light are, so I'm hoping there'll be a little bit more breaking in the clouds as the sun comes up, because there is a beautiful layer of clouds here that if that gets lit up, oh boy, this will be a wonderful morning for me in many regards. Not just being in a great place, but being able to come away with a wonderful image.
So the challenge with a Vista landscape is having some kind of visual anchor in the photo. Let me just show you this example of another Vista shot. I took this, I think in early 2002, and it's bad. It's just not a good photo. The problem is you really don't know where to look. What's the focal point? What's the one subject that your eye is supposed to go and grab onto. That's just not clear from this image. Fortunately, I've gotten a little better since then. And so when I was taking the shot in Portugal, I was very aware of my composition and trying to find things that were going to lead your eye through the frame or lead anyone looking at the photo through the picture. And you just know what you're looking at. The subject was very clear, and it was still, a pretty effective Vista photo. So tip of the week, I guess I'd say there's a part A and a part B. First off is take the shot. You're at some place where you've put an effort into to get to a certain vantage point, whether you've hiked up and climbed up a mountain, or on a cliff, or you've climbed the stairs of some large monument when you're traveling and visiting someplace. Go ahead and take the photo. That's a memory for you. That's something that you'll remember, and you'll have the whole experience around that photo. Then try and take it a step further. Think about your composition rules. Think about how you're going to lead your viewer into the frame. That's what I did here with this photo in Portugal. You've got the rocks, the cliffs, and that's your very solid, understood, well-defined subject. And the curve of the land is leading the eye through the frame. The water's nice and soft, the sky's soft. There's nothing really distracting your eyes at the edges of the frame and so forth. Another example, here's another one of from a city where this is in Paris, and the subject is very clear. You've got the Arc de Triomphe right there in the center. You've got roads that are leading toward it, and this is a more effective Vista shot than the previous one from Paris that I showed you. So those are the two things. Definitely take the photo for yourself, and then go a step further and think about your composition. Think about leading your viewer through the frame. That is it for this week in the field. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know. Those pluses, likes, comments, the comments are the best. Those really let me know you're getting something out of these. Questions are awesome because those help give me ideas. They make me think about my photography. That helps me become a better photographer. Hopefully my answers help you become a better photographer. And then we all get better at this together. That's the whole point, to improve and to have fun along the way. So until next time, my name is Scott Davenport, and thank you for joining me.